It was impossible to miss all the chatter about Lila, but this time, instead of everyone being impressed and charmed by her, the students at Francois DuPont jeered at her and shunned her for her lies. Really? So it was all a lie? Marinette heard a few girls at the bottom of the school steps recount how Ladybug had completely called Lila out for her lies. They proceeded to mock the new girl, even though she was merely a few steps away. Yeah, I heard LB totally call her out on it. Ew, what a phony. I know, right? What a loser. This is all my fault. I was pretty harsh with her. Marinette felt guilty as she glanced over to Lila, who was a few steps ahead of her. She had been jealous and lost her cool, humiliating Lila in the process. With a newfound resolve and to make up for her poor attitude, she was going to try her best to befriend Lila, even if no one else wanted to. Lila? Marinette called, and Lila flinched in surprise at hearing her name. She turned to her right to see Marinette skipping down a few steps towards her. Lila, right? I don't think we've met yet. I'm Marinette. She introduced herself and gestured over to her home. I live in that bakery right over there. Would you like to have lunch with me? Flustered that someone had spoken directly to her instead of flinging insults while she was within hearing distance, Lila stumbled upon her words. Okay. Great, Marinette exclaimed. Seeing the genuine smile that stretched across Marinette's face, Lila felt relief wash over her and smiled back. Marinette was wholly unprepared for the force of nature known as Lila. She was a sweet girl, really, but it would be an understatement to say that she was a bit clingy. Mari, good morning! Good morning, Lila. It couldn't be helped though. Marinette was still her only friend, though Marinette was putting her best effort into changing that. Adrien spotted the two girls and walked over to greet them. Good morning, Marinette. Lila, he said, being his usual friendly self. Marinette turned to the voice in surprise. Adrien! Good morning! Marinette could feel Lila's hold on her tighten as she glared at the newcomer. Adrien laughed nervously at Lila's lack of reply. She's been glaring at me non-stop since the Volpina incident. It's worse now that she's friends with Marinette, he thought sourly. If anything, he felt that it should have been the other way around. He was the one who was lied to, and she did attempt to throw an illusion of him off the Eiffel Tower. But now she was Marinette's friend, and he wanted to try to get along, if only for Marinette's sake. Intent on not replying, Lila locked arms with Marinette and pulled her off towards the school. Lila! I'll see you in class, Marinette called out. Lila's unexplained dislike towards Adrien continued on, and it only grew even more when Adrien and Marinette were partnered up for a school project. Normally, Marinette would have been ecstatic about finally being able to work with Adrien, but knowing that Lila was always nearby shooting daggers at Adrien made her feel bad that she was partnered with him. Regardless of Lila's feelings, they needed to complete the project, so she was simply going to have to deal with it. So when should we meet for the project? Adrien asked. I'm free this afternoon, Marinette replied. They could both feel Lila's stare from the distance. Fortunately, Lila had enough respect for Marinette to let her get her work done. Marinette and Adrien met up at a park after school to work on their project. With Lila out of the way, Marinette felt her nervousness creep up from being alone with Adrien. Or so she thought. I'm cool, totally not freaking out. Just concentrate on the work, Marinette, she chanted to herself. Adrien watched the way her brows furrowed and how intently she was trying to concentrate and inwardly laughed. She's so cute when she's focused, he thought, only to catch himself a second later. Wait, what? After working for about an hour, they decided to call it a day. Adrien had a photo shoot that he needed to be at in half an hour. I think we've done enough for today, he said, satisfied with the progress. Yeah, let's meet up tomorrow to finish. Mari, I missed you! Lila shoved past Adrien and hugged Marinette. She turned around and smirked at him. Don't you have a photo shoot or something to go to? Shoo! Why you? Adrien grit his teeth in anger, but didn't say a word to her. He was going to be the bigger person. He'd do it for Marinette. But he had to admit that it was draining. Throughout the next week, he could feel Lila watching his every move. Every time he tried to talk to Marinette, she'd appear from out of nowhere and interrupt him. Eventually, she would just pull Marinette away without any words, making Marinette apologize profusely. Dude, what did you do to Lila? She's been super hostile towards you, Nino asked Adrien as they walked towards class together. Lila's bizarre behavior didn't go unnoticed by everyone else. Alia's getting a kick out of this, he mumbled. Nothing, I don't know what's going on, Adrien sighed exasperatedly. Has talking to Marinette always been this hard? He wondered tiredly. As Nino had so mildly put it, Alia was highly entertained by the whole situation. It seemed that Marinette was so frazzled by Lila's behavior that she didn't even have the energy to psych herself out whenever Adrien was nearby. She could even call it progress. If only Lila knew that her actions were actually bringing the two idiots together. Well, she sure did a complete 180, Alia remarked. I know, I don't know why she's being like that to him, Marinette sighed before glancing over to Alia accusingly. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Of course not, Alia chuckled. Before Marinette could press her any further, Nino and Adrien entered the classroom. Nino took his seat and said good morning to the girls. They returned the greeting and looked over to Adrien, who was glancing around in a paranoid fashion. Seeing that he was currently safe from Lila, he took his seat and almost immediately passed out from exhaustion. The other three looked at him sympathetically. So, what's up with your new lady friend? She's been watching Adrien like a hawk, Nino asked, and he only earned a sigh in response. She's awfully attached to Marinette, isn't she? Alia mused. Nino raised a brow at her. Aren't you worried your best friend will be taken away? He asked. Not at all. I know how to share, she chuckled. She also knew that Lila was key to seeing her ship finally set sail. Speak of the devil, she thought when the girl entered the room. Good morning, Nino, Alia, Marinette, she said cheerfully, completely omitting Adrien. As she walked towards the center to go up to her seat, she paused for just a second to glare at Adrien. At this point, Nino was quite convinced that Adrien had to have done something to earn the girl's ire. Alia inwardly cackled at the scene, and Marinette was just simply too tired. Like usual, Lila spent the whole class period glaring at Adrien. Both Marinette and Nino had to tell Alia to stop laughing about it and that Adrien was getting really stressed out. By lunchtime, he was knocked out cold again. The students filed out of class and Lila skipped down to Marinette so they could head out for lunch together. Marinette smiled at Lila apologetically. I have to talk to Miss Bustier. I'll meet you outside, Kay? She said. It wasn't a lie. She did have to talk to Miss Bustier, but she left out that she also wanted to chat with Adrien. Lila smiled and nodded before heading out of the door. Marinette sighed. After having her talk with Miss Bustier, she turned around and walked over to Adrien, who was beginning to stir. Crap, I slept through the whole class, he murmured. Adrien, she called for his attention. Are you okay? I'm sorry about Lila. She frowned. She honestly felt badly about how Lila was treating him. She had hoped that Lila would eventually warm up to all of her friends, but for some reason she wouldn't give Adrien a chance. It made no sense considering that she had tried to buddy up with him on the first day, and he was nothing short of accommodating. Marinette, it's not your fault. I must have done something to get on her bad side, he smiled reassuringly. He still had no idea what he had done. Oh, Papa just got this new game and it's really good. Want to come by later and play? Marinette asked, hoping to cheer him up. It seemed to have worked when a big smile appeared on his face and wiped away any tiredness. Yeah, that sounds great. I'll text you when I'm home. Awesome, see you later. He grabbed his bag and waved before leaving. As Lila waited for Marinette outside, a group of girls walked by and began talking about her, knowing that she was there. I bet she's waiting for Marinette, one girl snickered. So lame, sticking to her like glue. Poor Marinette, another laughed. Don't let it get to you, Lila. You brought this onto yourself, she reminded herself. They were going to be gone in just a bit, so she wouldn't have to listen to them anymore. Hold on, guys, a third one spoke up. Lila clenched her jaw. No one had spoken to her directly before, so she never had to fight her way out. But if push came to shove. Hey, you have some nerve treating Adrien like that. Don't think we haven't noticed. You're lucky Marinette is nice enough to put up with you. You're nothing but a dirty little liar, the girl spat out. Unbeknownst to her, Marinette was at the top of the stairs and witnessed everything. Before Lila had the chance to speak up, Marinette put herself between the two. Is there a problem here? She asked, startling the group of girls. Marinette! The girl flinched and stepped back, not expecting to be caught in her shameless behavior. Well? Marinette asked again, eyes narrowing at the gaggle of bullies. We were just putting her in her place. She's been awful to Adrien and clinging to you, the girl rambled. Yeah, we were only trying to help you, the other piped up. Their excuses only succeeded in putting a more displeased look on Marinette's face. She was more than capable of handling herself and was sure Adrien was too. She didn't need a group of awful girls to fight for her. Well, see you tomorrow, the girl scattered. Marinette sighed and turned to Lila. Are you okay? She asked. She was surprised when she saw that Lila looked absolutely dazzled. Perfect! You were so cool, she gushed. Adrien watched the scene with a satisfied smile on his face before getting into the car. No one had noticed that he was there as well. He had been planning to step in, but Marinette beat him to it. It was a good thing, as he wasn't sure he would have been as effective in scaring the girls off. Plus, Lila was most likely not going to be happy with his interference. He was going to have to talk with her to try to figure out what he did wrong. But for now, he was going to ask Natalie if he could hang out at Marinette's after school. Adrien came to school on Monday feeling refreshed. He was still in a good mood from his Friday gaming session with Marinette. Her parents were as nice as ever and fed him all the pastries he could ever dream of. He also learned that Marinette was extremely competitive and that it was in his best interest to play co-op games with her. Immersed in his thoughts, he almost bumped into Lila. She looked at him with a deadpan expression. This is awkward, he thought. But he realized it was an opportune moment to finally talk to her. Lila? Stay away from her, she cut him off. What? He was confused. Marinette, you already have Ladybug, so stop leading her on. She pointed at him accusingly. Leading her? What is she talking about? Adrien thought frantically. What's happening? A fight? He could hear other voices tuning into their conversation. Marinette is a nice girl, and there is no way in hell. Lila, calm down. You're attracting a lot of attention, Adrien whispered urgently as he stepped back and raised his hands in defense. Crap, people are staring. The other students in the vicinity took great interest in their conversation, stopping what they were doing to listen in. Wait, he's with Ladybug? But she mentioned Marinette. Oh my god, is he playing all of them? Adrien's cheeks seared at the accusation. Playing? I am not, he defended himself to no one in particular. Anyway, she's my friend, so stay away. Lila's arms flailed in anger. I won't, he snapped back. She's my friend too. Lila was wearing him thin. He was getting absolutely fed up with her nonsensical dislike of him. Luckily, or not so luckily, Marinette interrupted them before he blew up on the girl. What's going on? Marinette looked at Lila with a disappointed frown. Lila chuckled nervously at having been caught despite Marinette specifically asking her to leave Adrien alone the day before. Mari, you look extra cute today, Lila, she said curtly. Lila froze at her tone. You can't keep bothering Adrien like this, she sighed exasperatedly. But... No buts, you're both my friends and I want you to get along, she explained. She too was getting tired of Lila's antics. Marinette treasured her as a friend and didn't want to hurt her, but she was being absolutely unreasonable. Even Adrien was trying his best to remain civil, and she wished that Lila would just simply try to meet him halfway. It wasn't as if she was asking her to be friends with him. Lila's brows knit together as she looked at Marinette in protest. Then she turned towards Adrien again. You can't go out with him, you're too good for him, she fired, making him step back from the outburst. Marinette's cheeks went ablaze, mortified that Lila had said such a thing. He's nothing but a pretty face, he's just a giant dork who's obsessed with Ladybug, she continued. You don't need him, I'm here for you. Adrien watched Lila wrap her arms around Marinette in utmost confusion. His mind was still trying to parse what had happened within the past minute. Before he could reach any semblance of enlightenment of the situation, he felt a hand rest on his shoulder, startling him. So you finally confronted her. It was Nino. It looked like things were getting interesting, so I had to watch, he said. Adrien gave him a tired smile. I'm glad you find my suffering amusing, he said. At least someone was having a good time. It seemed that Lila was confused by his relationship with Marinette. It was starting to become clearer to him why Lila behaved the way she did. She knew from the first day that he admired Ladybug. and if she thought that he and Marinette were dating, it would be reasonable for her to be protective of Marinette. So if he could just clear up the misunderstanding. Lila, Marinette and I are just— Shut up, pretty boy. He took it back. Reasonable? Maybe in that twisted little brain of hers. Nino stifled his laughter. Good luck, bro. He patted his shoulder before walking off. Adrien was 100% done with Lila. In an act of pettiness, he reached over and pulled Marinette away from Lila and held her to his side. The look of indignation that crossed Lila's face had him inwardly smirking. But his victory was cut short when she pulled Marinette back over to her side. Their game of Marinette tug-of-war had the poor girl feeling dizzy and confused. Let her go, Lila growled. Never, Adrien seethed, with a crazed look in his eyes. Onlookers watched in amusement, and Nino sent Alia a quick text message telling her to come by the entrance so that she could witness the hilarity. With Marinette back in his arms, Adrien barked at Lila. Marinette's allowed to have other friends. Of course she is, just not you, she tugged Marinette back. How does that even make any sense? It makes perfect sense. Besides, Mari's not interested in being friends with you, Lila smirked. Right, Mari? When finally asked for her input, Marinette stumbled on her words. She looked at Adrien and blushed before averting her eyes, embarrassed by his questioning gaze. Her lack of an answer stung. He just couldn't believe that Marinette didn't want to be friends with him. After all, they always had a splendid time together and she was always so nice to him. Stop leading her on. You can't go out with him. He suddenly recalled Lila's words from earlier. He thought back to all of his interactions with Marinette. Then it clicked. Oh, she... He reached his hand out to her. She's mine, he declared, sweeping her off of her feet and into his arms. The look of pure, unadulterated rage that fell upon Lila's face told him that despite his acclamation, the war was just beginning. He could hear hooting and whistling in the background through the thumping of his own heart. Show her who's boss, Agrast, Kim's voice could be heard above the others. Woo! Go Adrien! Alia cheered. He exhaled deeply to try to calm himself. His pulse slowed down and he turned to Marinette to see her face completely red and dazed. He realized that perhaps he was holding her too tightly. Marinette! He exclaimed when her body went slack. And there was the first casualty of the war.